Y'all just heard the tiny-braid tourist stand right there on national television and swear on her own oxygen that she don't know a single Remy Ma record. Y'all heard it. Nobody made it up. Nobody dubbed it. Nobody spliced it. She looked that interviewer dead in his face and pretended like Remy Ma is some obscure name she caught on a radio station once by accident on a Sunday drive through Newark. And the whole internet lit up before the segment even finished airing, because everybody watching already knew exactly what was coming out that girl's mouth before her lips even moved. That's how obvious the tiny-braid tourist has become. That's how predictable the mirror bandit has gotten. You can set your clock to Bhad Bhabie telling a lie the second a microphone gets close enough to catch her breath. You can plant a garden by it. You can time a soft-boiled egg by it. She has become the most reliably dishonest woman in the entire music industry, and that is a category with heavy competition. Let me put you on to what really happened in that interview, because the clip is short but the crime is enormous. The host sat there and asked her which female rappers she actually listens to. Simple question. A 12-year-old cousin at Thanksgiving could handle that question. A kindergartner at snack time could handle that question. And Bhad Bhabie starts naming the safe ones. Cardi. Megan. Glorilla. Lotto. All the names that trend on their own, all the names that don't threaten her, all the names she can drop without exposing what everybody in the culture already knows. Then the host, and I need y'all to understand this man knew exactly what he was doing, the host slides in with the surgical strike. He goes, "What about Remy Ma? You like Remy?" And you could see Bhad Bhabie's whole face short-circuit in real time. You could see the panic climb up her neck like a rash. You could hear her heartbeat through the studio monitor. Because the tiny-braid tourist had one job in that moment, and that was to keep the mask on, and she couldn't even do that. She goes, "I don't know many of her songs." She said it with a straight face too. Straight face. Blank stare. Dead eyes. Like the entire internet ain't got 2 years of receipts on her mimicking every hairstyle Remy Ma has ever worn since 2007. Like the mirror bandit ain't got a highlight reel of jacked outfits, jacked cadences, jacked photo poses, jacked poses stacked on top of jacked poses like pancakes at IHOP. She said, "I don't know many of her songs," and the host clapped for that ragged freestyle she dropped right before like he was a proud uncle at a preschool graduation. Whole standing ovation for a bar that wouldn't survive a middle school talent show. Yay. Good job. Somebody clap for the tiny-braid tourist. That freestyle was so cold the interviewer's teeth started chattering out of pity. That freestyle was so weak it filed for disability the moment it left her mouth. That freestyle had a walker. That freestyle had a life alert pendant. That freestyle called an ambulance on itself. But that ain't even the crime we're prosecuting today. The crime is the lie. The crime is Bhad Bhabie standing there acting like Remy Ma is a stranger to her when Remy Ma is the entire blueprint she's been photocopying since she got famous. The crime is her trying to gaslight the culture in broad daylight, on camera, with witnesses, on a Tuesday, in front of God and everybody. That story ain't got no legs. That story never had legs. That story was born in a wheelchair and rolled itself off the edge of the internet the second it went live. Let me walk you through the receipts, because I know some of y'all are new to how deep this goes. The tiny-braid tourist has been camping outside Remy Ma's whole life for years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. Every hairstyle Remy Ma debuts, Bhad Bhabie shows up in the discount version of it 3 weeks later like a factory second at an outlet mall. Every outfit Remy Ma rocks, the mirror bandit puts on a bootleg twin the following month with a wig that looks like it was fetched out of a lost and found bin. Every pose Remy Ma has ever hit in a photograph, Bhad Bhabie has attempted a knockoff version of, and I want y'all to sit with the fact that she has never once, not one time in the entire recorded history of her career, worn Remy Ma's blueprint better than Remy Ma. Not once. Show me the picture. Y'all send it to me. I will wait. I will wait forever, because that picture does not exist. Every time Bhad Bhabie jacks Remy Ma's style, she budget versions it into oblivion. The lighting is worse. The fabric is worse. The confidence is worse. The angles are worse. The energy is worse. The whole aura downgrades the second the tiny-braid tourist touches the concept. And the host knew all this. That's the part that killed me. That man watched her name every female rapper in the game except the one she's been stalking for the last decade, and he threw Remy Ma into the conversation like a landmine wrapped in a gift bow. He knew. Everybody in the studio knew. The camera crew knew. The lighting guy knew. The boom operator knew. The intern refilling the water bottles knew. The security guard at the front desk knew. The valet parking the guests' cars knew. The only person who thought she was slick in that room was Bhad Bhabie herself, because the tiny-braid tourist has been drinking her own Kool-Aid for so long she forgot the rest of us can see the cup, can see the powder, can see the water, can see the whole recipe. Now let's talk about what a functioning adult would have done in that moment. A functioning adult, when caught, would have said, you know what, Remy Ma is a legend, she's got bars, I don't listen to her records as much as the newer girls but her catalog speaks for itself. That's 12 seconds of grace. That's 12 seconds of adulthood. That's 12 seconds of grown woman behavior that would have shut every clip channel down. Would have killed the drama in the crib. Would have earned her actual respect. But Bhad Bhabie couldn't manage it. The mirror bandit does not have a humble bone in her whole skeleton. She'd need a bone transplant to say a nice word about a competitor. She would rather torch her credibility than hand another woman a compliment. And that, right there, is why the culture will never respect her. She cannot bear to acknowledge the woman she is quietly worshipping in the dark. You know what I can do? I can give props. I can give the tiny-braid tourist her flowers where they're due. She can throw hands, apparently. She's got some knockouts on her boxing record. I'll say it. She got baby teeth on the bottom row and horse teeth on the top row like her mouth was drawn by two different artists on two different deadlines, but I'll admit she can box. Her edges have been in witness protection since 2019, and every time she ties that little braid up it looks like a rat on a diet clinging to her scalp for dear life, but sure, I'll grant that she throws a decent hook. Her fingernails look like she's been fixing transmissions at a Jiffy Lube on the side, but the girl can swing. She got more bald spots on the side of her head than a soccer ball got hexagons, but I'll concede she can bang. See how easy that was? See how a person with a shred of humility hands out credit? Bhad Bhabie cannot do this. Bhad Bhabie will lie about her own reflection before she praises another woman. That is the mental illness we are watching in real time. And here is where the story gets deeper, because it ain't just about Remy Ma. Bhad Bhabie already told on herself. She sat down, on her own camera, in her own kitchen, on her own platform, on her own dime, on her own initiative, and confessed to the entire internet that her whole personality is stitched together from other women. She said it. She said she borrows from this one and takes from that one and combines what she likes from a third one like she's shopping in a discount bin. She published the confession. She notarized it. She released it as content. She monetized it. And now she wants us to believe she doesn't know Remy Ma's discography. The tiny-braid tourist is the certified curator of a museum full of other people's ideas, and she wants us to pretend she doesn't know the artist whose wing she visits the most. Kill the fairy tale, ma'am. Kill it dead. Bury it in the backyard. Put a tombstone on it. Remy Ma dropped 2 diss tracks aimed at Bhad Bhabie and Papoose, and we're supposed to believe those flew right past her too. 2 diss tracks. Not subliminal shots. Not vague social media posts. Not blurry Instagram stories. Full-length, on the record, name-taking, no mercy diss tracks. And the mirror bandit stood in that interview and pretended none of that music ever entered her ears. Ma'am, you heard conceited. You heard lean back. You heard all the way up. You heard wake me up. You heard every bar Remy Ma has ever spit into a microphone. You heard the diss tracks. You memorized the diss tracks. You probably danced to the diss tracks in your walk-in closet while nobody's watching. You probably lip-synced to the diss tracks in your bathroom mirror. Stop insulting the culture's intelligence. Remy Ma looked at the camera in her own way and said, I can't say too much because these people be stealing my sauce. Now, who do we think Remy Ma was talking about when she said that? Who is the full-time flavor thief in this equation? Who has been building a career out of somebody else's leftovers? The tiny-braid tourist has never had an original season. Every era of Bhad Bhabie's career is a discount reissue of a Remy Ma chapter. Every rollout is a hand-me-down. Every campaign is a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy until the image is so faded you can barely make out the original. And the audacity, the sheer, chandelier-level audacity, to sit in an interview chair and act like she doesn't know Remy Ma's music, is the biggest self-drag we've seen from her in years. And listen, this is not a woman who hides her homework. Bhad Bhabie's whole social media presence is a public confession booth. She's been camping outside Remy Ma's Instagram like a war correspondent on assignment. Every post. Every reel. Every story. Every archived photo. Every tagged appearance. Every comment section. She's built a shrine. She's got mood boards. She's got study guides. She's got flashcards. She probably has Remy Ma's mother's maiden name written down in a notebook somewhere. She's got a diagram of Remy Ma's living room from a magazine spread in 2016. She knows the name of Remy Ma's hairstylist. She knows the name of Remy Ma's chef. She knows Remy Ma's grocery list. The Mirror Bandit has done more research on Remy Ma than half the biographers in Hollywood. And she wants us to believe she doesn't know the songs. Girl. Girl. Sit down. The culture caught this the second the interview dropped. The neighborhood talk grabbed the clip. The barbershops grabbed the clip. The nail salons grabbed the clip. The kitchen tables grabbed the clip. Every comment section on every repost turned into a courtroom, and the verdict was unanimous. Nobody in the culture believed the tiny-braid tourist for 1 second. Nobody. Zero. Not one soul. The engagement wasn't debate, it was disbelief. It wasn't discussion, it was demolition. It wasn't conversation, it was a coroner's report. Bhad Bhabie thought she was going to get away with a soft lie, and the internet handed her a full receipt with tax, tip, and delivery fee. Now let's talk about this fight she keeps promising, because the Mirror Bandit's mouth is writing checks her boxing career cannot cash. She's out here running around calling herself the female Michael Jordan of boxing. She's calling herself the LeBron of the ring. She's saying she sells out arenas. She's saying she's a 19-time champion of an alphabet nobody's ever heard of. She's saying when she boxes it's a whole cinematic event. Ma'am, when you box, half the arena is comp tickets. When you box, the lower bowl looks like a witness protection program. When you box, the upper deck could hold a whole family reunion by itself with room to spare. And the people who do show up are not showing up for you. Ray J said it. Ray J, who is on her undercard, went on the record and said the crowd at these events isn't showing up to watch Bhad Bhabie. He said they're showing up for the spectacle, for the mess, for the drama, for Orlando Brown, for anybody but the tiny-braid tourist headlining her own show. That is a coworker. That is a coworker on her own payroll telling the whole world nobody is buying her a ticket. And Bhad Bhabie's response to being publicly dragged by her own undercard was to keep him on the undercard. That's the level of desperation we are dealing with. If you had any leverage, any actual clout in your own promotion, you'd have snatched him off that card faster than a bad Yelp review off a restaurant page. But she can't. She won't. She needs him more than he needs her, and everybody watching knows it. The Mirror Bandit is running a business where her own employees have more credibility than the CEO. The Mirror Bandit is running a fight card where the undercard has more star power than the main event. The Mirror Bandit is running a promotion where the pre-show outperforms the headliner. Then here comes the receipts on the boyfriend situation, because you cannot make this up. Ken Rod, before all this jumped off, told Bhad Bhabie to stay away from a certain man. Told her clearly. Told her publicly. Told her repeatedly. And the very next day, the tiny-braid tourist is posted up with that same man on camera, cheesing for the flash like she just won a raffle at a church fundraiser. So we already know how much weight her word carries with the people closest to her. If her own inner circle doesn't respect her boundaries, why would the internet respect her lies? The Mirror Bandit's word is worth about as much as a coupon that expired in 2011 for a store that closed in 2013 in a mall that got demolished in 2017. Let's zoom back to the interview, because there's another crime scene inside the crime scene. The freestyle. Y'all remember when a freestyle used to mean something? A freestyle used to mean off the top of your head. It used to mean the artist opens their brain and lets the bars fall out live and unfiltered. It used to be a sacred test of skill. It used to be a rite of passage. It used to be the moment where the real ones separated themselves from the pretenders. Bhad Bhabie sat there and went, let me think, which one should I do, hold on, let me think. Ma'am. A freestyle is not a menu. You are not picking an appetizer. You do not get to browse. You do not get to consult the wine list. That was pre-written. That was rehearsed. That was memorized in a mirror somewhere 3 days before the interview. And the second the host said drop something, she started flipping through the mental Rolodex of everything her ghostwriter fed her last week, trying to pick the least embarrassing option. And even the least embarrassing option was embarrassing. And then she spit whatever that was, and the host clapped. And I need y'all to understand, the clap was the loudest lie of the entire interview. That clap was a favor. That clap was a mercy. That clap was a charitable donation. That clap was the host saying, sweetie, I'm going to help you get through this segment because if we sit in silence right now, the internet will never let you live. That clap was hospice care for a freestyle that was already dead on arrival. Nobody in that studio was moved. Nobody in that studio was impressed. Nobody in that studio's jaw dropped. That was pity applause, and the tiny-braid tourist accepted it like a Grammy, like a Nobel Prize, like a Lifetime Achievement Award. She bowed. She smiled. She soaked it in. That right there was the saddest moment on the tape. The mirror bandit thinks she's winning. That's the tragic part. She thinks the algorithm boosting her drama is admiration. She thinks the trending audio is applause. She thinks the memes are affection. She thinks the reposts are respect. Bhad Bhabie genuinely believes the culture is laughing with her, and the culture has been laughing at her since the moment she said the word cash and me outside on daytime television nearly a decade ago. Nothing has changed. The joke has only gotten longer. The joke has only gotten louder. The joke has only gotten staler, and yet the tiny-braid tourist keeps performing it like it's opening night. She is the punchline of a bit that started 10 years ago and refuses to die because she keeps feeding it new material with her own hands. And Papoose is right there on the sidelines nodding along, thinking he's clever, thinking he's strategic, thinking he's picked a winner. My man, you picked the leaky lifeboat. You picked the discount version of the woman you already had. You picked the karaoke cover when you had the original recording in your house. You picked the tribute band when you were married to the headliner. And Remy Ma told him, publicly, on record, to go find something stupid to play with. He heard that assignment and went straight to the tiny-braid tourist like she was the answer key on the final exam. Remy Ma called it. Remy Ma predicted it. Remy Ma scripted it. Remy Ma said find something stupid, and the man delivered. The prophecy fulfilled itself. The prophecy autographed itself. The prophecy wrote its own sequel. And now Papoose is still out here waiting on his clothes to be delivered from the last address change. Remy Ma told him to take a journey to go get his stuff. Whole grown man is nomadic now. Whole grown man is a Yelp review for his own life. Whole grown man is a cautionary tale in a fitted cap. And he thinks aligning himself with the mirror bandit was some kind of power move. Sir, you demoted yourself. You went from a legend to a lesson. You went from a Hall of Fame catalog to a cautionary tale in a middle school health class. You went from Bronx royalty to Broward County Community Theater, and the tiny-braid tourist was the vehicle you drove there in. She was the Uber. She was the Lyft. She was the getaway car from your own credibility. Let me get back to the copycatting, because the receipts are stacked so high they need their own building. They need their own storage unit. They need their own zip code. Every single time Bhad Bhabie has recreated a Remy Ma look, she has downgraded it. The proof is not opinion. The proof is visual. Pull the pictures up right now. Split screen them. Remy Ma on the left, Bhad Bhabie on the right. Every single time, the left side wins. Every single time. The mirror bandit has never once flipped the script. Never once made the copy better than the original. Never once shown up and said, I took her idea and I elevated it. Because she can't. Because she doesn't have the range. Because the tiny-braid tourist is a Xerox machine with a broken toner cartridge, and every reproduction comes out streaky and crooked and off-center. And I want to talk about the audacity, because the audacity is what makes this newsworthy. It is one thing to copy quietly. It is another thing to copy loudly. It is a third thing entirely to copy loudly and then look the whole internet in the face and deny you know the woman you are copying. The tiny-braid tourist has achieved a rare trifecta in the world of cultural theft. She stole. She got caught. And then she pretended the person she stole from doesn't exist. That is a level of delusion that requires professional intervention. That is a level of denial that has its own psychiatric code in the DSM. That is a level of gaslighting that could power a small city. And the culture is done. That is the shift I want everybody to notice tonight. The culture is done. The clip channels are done. The barbershops are done. The nail salons are done. The comment sections are done. The reaction podcasts are done. Nobody is playing along anymore. Nobody is treating Bhad Bhabie like she is being cute. Nobody is calling her a firestarter. Nobody is protecting the Wild Child brand. The affection has expired. The novelty has expired. The Wild Child pass has expired. The teen star grace period has been repossessed. The tiny-braid tourist is now just a grown woman lying on camera about a Bronx legend, and the audience is out of patience. Even the discount she's offering on this so-called fight tells you where the temperature is at. She said, if you're from the state of Flint, you get 50% off. If you're from the country of Michigan, you get 25% off. And ma'am. Flint is a city. Michigan is a state. There is no country of Michigan. There has never been a country of Michigan. There will never be a country of Michigan. Not now. Not next year. Not in the next century. And the fact that the Mirror Bandit is out here rewriting United States geography to sell tickets to a fight nobody is asking to see should tell you everything about where her career is right now. When you gotta run a fire sale on your own event, the event is on fire. And not the good kind. Not the marketable kind. The 3-alarm, call the fire marshal kind. Let's talk about the mock freestyle again because I cannot let it go. Somebody hand this woman a rhyming dictionary and a bus ticket home. Let me think, she said. Let me think. Let me think. Ma'am, if you have to think that hard about which pre-written freestyle to recite, none of them are freestyles. They are recitations. They are book reports. They are theater kid monologues in a Yankee cap. They are dramatic readings at a coffee shop open mic on a Wednesday. The tiny-braid tourist has never freestyled a day in her life, and that interview was the moment the mask slid so far off her face it landed on the floor and rolled under the couch. And then, because the universe has a sense of humor, the very next viral clip after her freestyle disaster was Bhad Bhabie's own undercard fighter roasting her on a podcast. Ray J went on the record. He looked at the camera and said, they ain't there to see her. They there to see the baddies. They there to see Orlando Brown. They there for everything except the tiny-braid tourist. And Bhad Bhabie's team had to pretend they didn't hear it. Because what were they going to do? Fire him? He's her main draw. The Mirror Bandit's whole business model is that her supporting acts have to prop her up, and the moment one of them stops propping, the whole scaffolding wobbles like a Jenga tower at last call. Then there is the moment I keep replaying in my head, because it is the tell. The little micro-expression. When the host asked her about Remy Ma, her face did a thing. If you slow the tape down frame by frame, you can see her whole nervous system flinch. Her eyes darted. Her jaw locked. Her chest tightened. Her fingers curled. That was not a woman who doesn't know Remy Ma. That was a woman who has been studying Remy Ma with the focus of a graduate student and got called on in class without doing the reading, even though she did the reading, because she cannot admit she did the reading, because admitting she did the reading would collapse the whole grift she's been running for the last 10 years of her career. The tiny-braid tourist could have said the truth. Could have said, Remy Ma is a legend, of course I know her music, of course I respect her, I just listen to the newer wave more often. She could have said that in one breath and walked out of the interview looking mature. Looking evolved. Looking grown. Instead she chose the lie. She chose to insult the audience's intelligence in real time. She chose to pretend her entire career blueprint is a woman she has never listened to. The Mirror Bandit chose disgrace over grace, and the internet held her to that choice with both hands. And Bhad Bhabie's team, wherever they are not doing her any favors. Somebody around her should have said, if you go into that interview and lie about Remy Ma, you are going to spend the next month getting dragged across every timeline on the internet. Nobody said it. Or somebody said it and she ignored them. Either way, the outcome is the same. The tiny-braid tourist has now added another highlight reel of humiliation to a career that is starting to look like a compilation tape of humiliation set to a slow instrumental. There is a supercut being edited right now, somewhere, of every time she has lied on camera and been caught before the segment ended. That supercut has enough footage to fill a movie. That supercut has enough footage to fill a miniseries. That supercut has enough footage to fill a documentary trilogy with bonus features and director's commentary. Now watch this. Watch what the Mirror Bandit does next. She is going to post a video defending herself. She is going to say y'all are twisting her words. She is going to say she meant she doesn't listen to Remy Ma often, not never. She is going to move the goalposts to the 50-yard line and hope nobody remembers where they started. That is the playbook. That is always the playbook. Every time Bhad Bhabie gets caught, she reissues the lie in a new outfit and hopes we accept the second version. And every time, the culture stops accepting a little sooner. The runway keeps getting shorter. The margin keeps getting thinner. The grace keeps getting rarer. You know how you can tell when the tiny-braid tourist is lying? Watch her lips. If her lips are moving, she is lying. That is not a metaphor. That is not an exaggeration. That is a diagnostic tool. That is a field manual. That is a working formula. Bhad Bhabie lies when it is convenient. She lies when it is inconvenient. She lies when there is no reason to lie. She lies for practice. She lies to stay in shape. She lies the way athletes stretch. It is not situational for the Mirror Bandit, it is muscular. Her mouth has been trained. She has a black belt in fabrication. She has a PhD in falsehoods. She has an honorary degree in gaslighting from Cap University. And Papoose is going to sit next to her while she lies and nod like a bobblehead in the back window of a 1998 Honda Civic on a bumpy road. He is going to co-sign the lie. He is going to defend the lie. He is going to appear in the follow-up video wearing sunglasses inside and gesturing at a whiteboard nobody asked to see. He is going to give a whole TED talk on why Bhad Bhabie's lie was actually the truth all along. And Remy Ma is going to sit at her house, drink her tea, drop another verse, and remind everybody that she doesn't have to say a word, because the tiny-braid tourist keeps writing the diss tracks for her by breathing in the general direction of a microphone. The final indignity in all of this is that Bhad Bhabie could have skipped the whole scandal. She could have named Remy Ma in the interview. She could have said, yeah, I like Remy, she's a boss, she's the reason a lot of us can do what we do. 12 seconds. 12 seconds and she would have flipped the entire narrative. She would have been trending for grace, not for grift. She would have been the woman who paid respect, instead of the woman who got caught. But she couldn't do it. The Mirror Bandit cannot let a competitor be great in the same sentence as her, even when it would benefit her financially, professionally, and reputationally to do so. That is not strategy. That is pathology. That is diagnosable. And that is why this story matters. Because it is not about a hairstyle. It is not about an outfit. It is not even about a diss track. It is about a woman who has built her career on the aesthetic of authenticity while being the least authentic person in the room. The tiny-braid tourist markets herself as the raw one, the real one, the unfiltered one, and every single time the microphone goes live, she is the most manufactured person in the studio. The gap between her brand and her behavior is now larger than any actual talent she could possibly develop to close it. The gap is intergalactic. The gap has its own weather system. The interview clip is still circulating. New reaction videos are being uploaded every hour. Podcast hosts are queuing it up. Radio shows are debating it. Culture writers are drafting takes. TikTok is remixing it. And through all of it, Bhad Bhabie is on her account, quiet as a church mouse on a Sunday morning, because for once in her career, the Mirror Bandit doesn't have a comeback. There is no clapback that fixes this. There is no witty response that saves this. There is no photo dump that distracts from this. The only thing that would save it would be honesty, and honesty has never been a service she offers. Meanwhile, Remy Ma has not said one word. She hasn't tweeted. She hasn't posted. She hasn't recorded a response. She hasn't been interviewed about it. She hasn't needed to be. That is what real power looks like. That is what a legacy looks like. The tiny braid tourist is out here scrambling to explain herself, and the woman she has been stalking for a decade is just living her life, letting the culture do the work for her. Remy Ma doesn't have to move. Remy Ma doesn't have to reach. Remy Ma doesn't have to lift a finger. The Mirror Bandit has already delivered her own eulogy in front of a live studio audience. And that is where we are tonight. That is the whole story. Bhad Bhabie sat in an interview chair, tried to erase Remy Ma from her own inspiration board, got caught by the host, got caught by the audience, got caught by her own face on camera, and instead of admitting the truth, she doubled down on the lie. The whole culture watched it in real time. The whole culture rendered its verdict. And the verdict is unanimous. The tiny braid tourist is finished pretending, whether she knows it yet or not. So the next time you see Bhad Bhabie post a photo, look real close. Zoom in. Cross-reference the hairstyle with Remy Ma's timeline. Cross-reference the outfit. Cross-reference the pose. Cross-reference the caption cadence. Because I promise you, somewhere in Remy Ma's archive, that exact look already exists. And it existed better. And it existed first. And the Mirror Bandit is going to keep photocopying it until the toner runs out and the printer catches fire and the whole store closes down for good. Tell me in the comments. Do y'all believe the tiny braid tourist has never heard a Remy Ma song? Do y'all believe her boxing career is going to survive her own undercard talking down on her? Do y'all believe Papoose picked the winning horse? Do y'all think Bhad Bhabie will ever, in this lifetime, admit that Remy Ma is her North Star? Because I got my answer already, and I promise you it rhymes with nope. It rhymes with never. It rhymes with not in 100 lifetimes. And drop a comment if you caught the exact frame where her face changed. Drop the timestamp. Let's build the receipt together. Let's make the supercut permanent. Let's make sure the next time somebody Googles the tiny braid tourist's name, this whole story loads on the first page in bold. And here comes another layer of the crime, because the tiny braid tourist did not stop at pretending she doesn't know Remy Ma's music. She also spent the last year cozied up to a man who has been publicly accusing Remy Ma of using ghostwriters. Let that sink in for a second. Bhad Bhabie is romantically entangled with a man who tried to torch the credibility of the exact woman Bhad Bhabie is silently studying every single day. That is not a love story. That is a hit job. That is a coordinated smear campaign disguised as a relationship, and the Mirror Bandit is standing in the middle of it acting like she doesn't understand why the culture is side-eyeing her from every direction. We see the assignment. We see the choreography. We see the whole play unfolding in slow motion. And Remy Ma, from her side of the ring, has already answered the ghostwriter allegations with a freestyle so cold it turned the whole conversation to ice, and yet Bhad Bhabie still had the nerve to walk into that interview and act like Remy Ma's discography is a foreign language to her. Ma'am, you know every syllable. You know every ad-lib. You know every inflection. You know every producer credit. Stop. Let's play a little game for the folks in the back. If Bhad Bhabie truly did not know Remy Ma's music, then why does every one of her rollouts land within striking distance of Remy Ma's classic imagery? Why do the color palettes match? Why does the album art breathe the same air? Why do the promotional shoots feel like a reenactment society staged on a budget of half a Hulu subscription? The tiny braid tourist keeps claiming ignorance while executing a doctoral thesis in Remy Ma studies. You cannot fail an oral exam on the woman you have been photocopying for a decade and expect the class to believe you never showed up to lecture. Bhad Bhabie did not just show up to lecture. She sat in the front row. She took notes in 3 colors of highlighter. She got extra credit. And now she wants a refund on her tuition. And the internet is undefeated. The internet is undefeated. Within 24 hours of the interview going live, the receipts started stacking like Jenga blocks on payday. Side-by-side photos. Split-screen edits. Wardrobe overlays. Choreography comparisons. Somebody built a whole PowerPoint. Somebody built an Excel spreadsheet. Somebody built a Google Doc with hyperlinks and footnotes. The Mirror Bandit's entire mood board has been reverse engineered by strangers with too much time and 100% accuracy, and Bhad Bhabie has not said a single word to defend herself, because there is no defense. The tape does not lie. The tape only reveals. And the tape has revealed the tiny-braid tourist as the most transparent copycat in modern hip-hop. Meanwhile, Papoose is out here posting motivational quotes on his page like his life isn't in a public spiral. Sir. Your marriage evaporated on national timelines. Your wife dropped ghostwriter allegations into a freestyle so precise it should be filed as evidence. And you are aligning yourself with a woman who cannot even keep a straight lie about your ex-wife's discography. This is not a chess move. This is not a strategic realignment. This is a man setting his own credibility on fire and asking us to warm our hands over the flames. Nobody is warming their hands, Papoose. Nobody. The whole neighborhood is stepping back and letting the building burn. And the funniest, saddest, most quietly devastating thing about this whole spectacle is that Remy Ma is winning it in her sleep. She is winning it while cooking dinner. She is winning it while folding laundry. She is winning it in her spare time between actual professional obligations. The tiny-braid tourist and Papoose have been running a joint campaign against her, and the campaign has produced exactly one measurable result, Remy Ma looking even more untouchable by contrast. That's it. That is the entire return on their investment. They spent years, energy, career capital, and public credibility on a plan whose only outcome was making the woman they were attacking look more mythic. Congratulations. That is a business school case study in how not to run a rivalry. Take the whole act down the block. The mirror bandit has been exposed on her own timeline, in her own words, in her own interview, on her own show. I ain't got to say another thing. The tape said it for me. The face said it for me. The freestyle said it for me. The undercard said it for me. The receipt said it for me. Remy Ma didn't have to say a word, and neither do I. I'm gone.